You ever stop and think about your school days? Like, was there some kind of secret logic to it all? A hidden blueprint that decided everything from the subjects you took to why you got a sticker for a right answer? Well, you're not wrong. There is. And trust me, once you see it, you're going to notice it everywhere. So let's pull back the curtain on the secret blueprint of your education.
I bet you remember this feeling, right? That little rush when the teacher slapped a gold star on your paper, or even just a simple good job for getting an answer right. It was a simple trick, but man, it worked. It just made you hungry to get that next one. Or maybe this was more your speed. That quiet intensity of a whole classroom just wrestling with a really tough problem. Or the complete opposite, right? That chaotic, buzzing energy of a group project where everyone's talking at once, trying to piece an answer together from scratch. And today, well, a lot of the time it looks like this. The answer is literally at your fingertips, just a quick search away. The real challenge isn't finding information anymore, it's figuring out what to trust. So all these different moments, the gold star, the group project, the Google search, it all begs the question, why? Why is school designed the way it is? Okay, so the answer is something called educational learning theories. Now, that might sound a little academic, but stick with me. The best way to think about them is like the operating system running in the background of your education. They are the frameworks, the secret blueprint that shape almost every single classroom experience you've ever had. So let's start with the OG blueprint, behaviorism. This theory is super straightforward. It doesn't really care about what's going on in your head. It only cares about one thing: what happens after you do something. Yeah, to a behaviorist, your brain is just a black box. They don't pretend to know what's happening inside, your thoughts, your feelings, because they can't see it. For them, all that matters is what you do. If they give you a reward and your behavior changes, well, congratulations, that's it. Learning has just happened. It's all about what we can see and measure. And this really gets to the heart of something called operant conditioning. It's pretty simple, actually. On one hand, you've got reinforcement, like getting a trophy or praise, which is designed to make you do that thing again. And on the other hand, you've got punishment, which is designed to make you stop doing that thing. It's a really powerful system for shaping what we do. And hey, you can see why this is so popular, right? It's fantastic for drilling in facts, like memorizing multiplication tables or just basic classroom management. But, and this is a huge but, it has a massive blind spot. It doesn't care one bit if you actually understand why 7 times 7 is 49. It only cares that you say 49. So that giant limitation, that whole black box problem, is exactly what pushed things forward. Researchers started saying, wait a minute, we have to look inside the box. And that curiosity is what gave us our next blueprint, cognitivism. This was a total game changer, shifting the focus from just behavior to what's actually happening inside our minds. Cognitivism introduced this really powerful new way of thinking about the mind. It's like a computer. Learning isn't just about stimulus and response. No, it's about processing information. We take stuff in, we file it away, we save it, and then we pull it back up when we need it, just like a computer does. And this model breaks it down into 3 really simple steps. First step is encoding. That's the input, basically getting the data into your brain. Then you have storing, hitting save and putting it into your long-term memory. And finally, you've got retrieving, which is like opening a file right when you need it, say during a test. Now, this approach is super efficient for learning complex stuff with clear rules, like grammar or a math formula. But it's also a little cold, It kind of treats learning like this solo, logical thing, and it totally misses the huge role our emotions and talking to other people play in how we actually learn. Okay, so what if learning isn't like saving a file to a hard drive? What if it's more like building something with your own 2 hands? Well, that's the core idea behind our third big theory, constructivism. And this was a huge shift from just receiving info to actively creating it. See, constructivism argues that we're not just empty buckets waiting for a teacher to pour knowledge into us. No way. We're more like architects. We actively build our own understanding of the world, piece by piece, by connecting new experiences to stuff we already know. And because of that, a constructivist classroom just feels different. It's probably a lot louder, for one. Forget that image of a silent room with students quietly taking notes. Here, kids are up, they're moving, they're experimenting, arguing, building stuff together. And the teacher? They're not lecturing from the front of the room. They're more like a coach or a guide, helping students find their own way. The great thing about this, it builds real critical thinking and problem-solving skills, stuff you actually use in the real world. But there's a flip side. It can feel a little chaotic and unstructured. It's way harder to measure with a multiple choice test. And you have to watch out for groupthink, where everyone just agrees instead of really challenging each other.
All right, that brings us to our last blueprint. And this one was basically built for the 21st century. It's called connectivism. And it's the learning theory for our hyper-connected digital world, where knowledge isn't just in your head, it's everywhere.
So, with connectivism, learning itself is the skill of building and navigating networks. The nodes in that network can be anything: your friends, an expert on a forum, a Wikipedia page, a YouTube tutorial, a database. All of a sudden, the most important skill isn't what you know, it's knowing how to connect to the right information or the right person at just the right time.
This quote just nails it. It totally flips the script on what it means to be smart. The value isn't just in having information stored in your head anymore. Your brain stops being the main hard drive. The network becomes the hard drive. And learning becomes this new skill of sifting through all that information and making sense of it.
I mean, this is obviously tailor-made for today's world, right? It builds fantastic problem-solving skills. But of course, it has its own set of problems. For starters, you need access to technology and the skills to use it, which isn't a given for everyone. Plus, you run the risk of just being totally overwhelmed. Information overload is real.
Okay, so we've got our 4 big blueprints: behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism. So which one's the best? Well, that's kind of the wrong question. The really great educators, they know not to pick just one. They use them all. And when you look at it all together like this, you can see this amazing story unfold. It's the story of how the role of the student has changed over time. We went from being just a passive bucket for facts to an active information processor, then to an active creator of our own knowledge, and now an active navigator of networks. See? Each theory didn't erase the last one, it just built on top of it. So, in the end, these theories aren't at war with each other. The best way to think of them is like a really versatile toolkit. A skilled teacher knows exactly which tool to grab for which job. Maybe some behaviorist drills for vocabulary, a cognitivist flowchart for a science process, and then a big, messy, constructivist group project to tackle a real-world problem. And that brings it all right back to you. Just think about this for a second. How would you do it? Would you use a flashcard app that gives you points? That's behaviorism. Would you watch a video explaining the grammar? That's cognitivism. Maybe you'd role-play with a friend online. Hello, constructivism? Or would you just walk into a cafe and use a translation app on your phone? That's pure connectivism. The thing is, the best answer is probably a little bit of all of them, and that is the secret blueprint of how we learn today.